Hey everybody, my name is Steven Georger, and I am bringing this Songshare presentation to you from Rochester, New York. The piece that I chose to do for this project is called Mama's Room, and the artist is Under the Influence of Giants. And before I start, I would like to ask you, if you do comment on my presentation, would you please just let me know if you've heard of this group or not before um, before you kind of give your input on my presentation. I'm interested to know how many people have actually heard of this group. I know for me, I had not heard of it until I heard of this song a few years ago, and even to this day, I ask people if they've heard of it, and very few people know who this is, and this is a song that I actually really enjoy listening to. Just a little bit of background information on the song first. They were a group that originated from Los Angeles, California. They fall under the category of like an alternative rock. They were a group active between the years 2000 and 2008 before they broke up. They were influenced by some groups: the Beatles, the Who, Led Zeppelin, the Bee Gees, and Prince. They have, if you're listening to their music, they're kind of like a hybrid of all those in certain areas. The current members are Aaron Bruno, Drew Stewart, David Amezcua, and Jamin Wilcox. Those are the four members and the four original members. The name of their group is the most interesting of all. Under the Influence of Giants. That was the name that they wanted to reflect their continuous struggles to overcome authority. They had a whole little article about always having to follow the red tape with performances and all these rules about when they were performing, where they were performing, and the Giants in the name of the title kind of symbolizes the higher ups that they always had to abide by. They only had 2 singles from their album. One of them was Mama's Room, and the other one was called In the Clouds. And now the song that I'm speaking of is very much an interesting piece. When I heard it for the first time, my brother sent it to me, and he said, "Check this out." And I was really skeptical to even hear it at all because of the name of the group, but it's really a great song, and I'm going to provide the audio, the MP3, for you to listen to while I go through this. The rhyme scheme of the lyrics, there is no rhyme scheme. A couple of words rhyme, but that's unintentional. There is no rhyming pattern to these words whatsoever. The lines in the verses and the chorus are relatively short, only about 4 or 5 words. For example, the first line is, "Something's got my fear." The second line is, "And that won't get through my head." So just very short, very short lines that are sung in a very unique way. The predictability. I would say that this song is very predictable. The chord progression is very predictable, and I'm going to get into a little bit more details in a little bit about that. But I think you can really hear where the next chord's going to go, except for in the chorus, where they throw a little loop, they throw a curve to you, which is why I think my ear goes right to that section every time I hear it. There's a specific chord, and I'll get into that in just a moment. Motives or hooks. In the beginning, there's a little guitar and drum riff that's kind of like this. It's in 4, and it's this very driving rock beat in 4, and this little the guitar riff that's very catchy to your ear, and you'll hear that in the recording. Some meter changes, there are none. It is in 4. It stays in 4 through the whole song, and it does not deviate from that at all. Now the chord progression, one of the most interesting things of this piece. This is what I like the most about this. The chords there are 3 different chords that are dominant throughout the entire performance. The first chord, it's in the key of G sharp minor. So the first chord is G sharp minor, then we go down to F sharp major, down to E major, back up to F sharp major, and then back to G sharp minor. So those three chords just go in that order: G sharp minor, F sharp major, E major, and back up. That is for every time you have the verse. There are two verses. The chorus does the exact same thing, except at the very end, after you hit that E chord, all of a sudden you go to the B. You go to the next chord, which is B major, and your ear, that B major chord, really throws you kind of for a loop. It's almost as if the piece changes from G sharp minor to B major, the relative major, B major. The E chord acts as like the dominant chord, going to B major, so it's kind of like an authentic cadence. And then all of a sudden, it hits back on the G sharp minor chord for the next verse, or the bridge. So it's kind of an interesting chord. It's an interesting sequence of chords. Very simple, but kind of interesting because it really, your ear's not ready for that B major chord. Let me get into the kind of the roadmap of the verses and the chorus. There are two verses. Verse starts out with verse 1. Then we go into the chorus, where it does the chorus one time. Then we do verse 2. Then they sing the chorus 2 times. And then they sing the bridge. Now the bridge is very instrumental and very rhythmical, and there's only 2 lyrics in the bridge, and it's at the very end when they say, "I can't sleep alone, I can't sleep alone." Immediately after, that leads right into the chorus again, where they do it 3 times. So again, verse, chorus once, verse 2, chorus twice, bridge, chorus 3 times, and then out. It's very interesting. You hear that chorus several times, and it's very, very catchy. Instrumentation is very simple. It's the drums, bass, guitar, and vocals. And there's also there's a synth where you hear like bell sounds. In the drums, there's kind of some alternative drums, not just your traditional drum set. There's claves, this running clave line throughout the bridge. In the vocals, one of the key characteristics is a very high falsetto vocal line, and it's almost as if they're singing into a microphone where there's an output of other harmonies involved. It's really kind of cool. The falsetto is very very catchy to your ear. The lines of the song, the words, the story that it's saying is a little unclear. I think people could take this several different ways. I'm just going to read the first verse to you real quick. The first verse is, "Something's got my fear, and then won't get through my head, but there's something missing here." So it's about, I guess you would say automatic right off the top there, it's about a person who's got something in his mind. He can't figure out what it is. He can't figure out that if that something in his mind is something that is missing from his life, or what's going on. Then the chorus, which is very dominating. "Making love in mama's room, taking all I can from you, and when you go, go." And that "go" repeats several times. So it's like he's longing for a girl in his life, but she's not giving him what he needs. He's taking all that he can from her, and when she goes, if she wants to go, just go. So it's kind of like a love song, and that's as I've gone through this class, I've noticed that pop music went from songs way back when in slavery, when they were singing about working and singing about positive things, moving toward like the big band era and a much more of a seductive kind of lyrics. And even today we have these lyrics that are very these loving, very kind of like a sexual lyrics, and that's a lot of what pop songs are today. Again, the timbre and effects of the instrumentation, it's very pop, very very rock, very pop, and it's this tempo that continues driving throughout. I hope that you got a good insight on this awesome piece, Mama's Room, by Under the Influence of Giants, and take the time to listen to it. It's a great piece. Thank you so much.